Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GRE out of this book here, practicing to take the GRE General Test, the 10th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you're going to find on page number 280, number 14, the penultimate one, the second to the last one. Let's take a look at it. They tell you here that I have written some things already here, that the average for boys is 90, average for girls is 81, and they want you to compare these two things in the column. Column A, they give you number of boys in the class, number of boys. In column B, they're talking about number of girls. They want you to compare the number of boys versus number of girls. There are two ways actually you can solve this problem. One is what I call the classical way, the orthodox way, the traditional way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the academic way, the proper way, the mathematical way, which requires a great deal of algebra, for which you either do not have the time or the inclination. And in most people's cases, that will be the case. They will have neither the time nor the inclination to go for the algebraic way, which is what I sometimes refer to as also as the masochistic way. And there is another way, which is the quick and dirty way, the intuitive way. The intuitive way is what the test takers expect you to adopt here. Because the purpose of the exam, what you have to understand, is not to show them how big of a geek you are. The purpose of the exam is not to show them how big of a freak you are. The purpose of the exam is actually just to see how well you can think. That's what they want you to do here. Look, the average for the boys is 90, average for the girls is 81. Let's put them on a scale here so we can see. Here is my 90, here is my 81, 82, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's put a 90 here since I 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this is 89. That's 89. And finally, the 90. If you count halfway through would be 1, 2, 3, 4 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4 from here. This is the halfway right here, which is between 5 and 6, which is 85.5. Let me explain to you what's going on here. If I tell you that there are 20 students in the class, 10 boys and 10 girls, all the boys in the class scored 90 and all the girls scored 81. Same number of people, 10 and 10. If that were the case, then the 10 boys who scored 90, they're pulling the average up. And the 10 girls who scored 81 rather, they're pulling the average down. And they will negate each other because there are the same number of boys as there are girls. And the overall average in the class will end up being halfway in between, which in this case 85.5. Do you understand? In other words, if there was only one girl in the class, if there was only one girl, she scored 81, and there was only one boy in the class, and that's all. There are two students in the class. One girl scored 81, one girl who scored 90. The overall average of the class, in the case of these two people, would have been 85.5. But the fact that they're telling me that the overall average is 84, where should we put it? This is the overall average. The fact that they're telling us that the overall average is 84, not halfway through 81 and 90, which is 85.5, or even if you made a mistake and if you ended up saying inadvertently 85, you still should have realized that 84 is towards the lower end, which tells me there are more people scoring 81. There are more people to the lower end scoring the lower score who are pulling the score down. And that's why the actual score of 84, which is our actual score here, the overall average right here, is to the left of the scale. That tells me there are more people scoring toward the lower end, 81. Hence there are more girls, that's all. There must be more girls because they are pulling the average down. If there were more boys than girls, the overall average of the class would have been, if there were more boys, the overall average in the class would have been higher than 85.5. If there were the same number of boys as there are girls, all the boys scoring 90 and all the girls scoring 81, the overall average would have been 85.5. Since our overall average is towards the lower end, there are more girls in the class who are pulling the average down. And that's all we're done. There are more girls in the class. That's it. You don't have to do anything. So if you're comparing number of boys and the number of girls, there are more girls. That's all. There are more girls. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the back of the camera, I'm going to look at the time, see how much time I've consumed, and now I'm going to do the classical way. The classical way is not meant for everybody. I will not have the luxury of explaining every single step because I don't have the time, because YouTube frowns upon videos going over 10 minutes. And the second reason is that if I did have to explain to you every single step in the process, then you're not cut out for it. Don't do the algebraic way. Algebraic way that I'm about to do is only for those people who can broke it. Who can broke it. Let me look at the camera. I'll be right back. Yes, we are 6 minutes into it, so I only have 4 minutes to do the classical way. So let's get going. I'm going to have to erase everything now and start from scratch. Okay? Brook means to tolerate it, to endure it, to stomach it. If you can stomach it, what I'm about to do, then you're meant for it. But if you cannot stomach it, if you cannot tolerate it, if you cannot endure it, if you cannot brook it, then just ignore it. So here we go. And I have to pick up speed now because otherwise I'm going to run out of time. So we know that average for the boys is 90. And total number of boys, we said, is B. Number of boys, we said is B. Similarly, number of girls, let's call it G. If that were the case, then if the average is 90 and there are number of boys is B, therefore, this stands for therefore, the average has to be the total for the boys, T with the subscript B, T with the subscript B divided by the total number of boys, and same thing here, therefore 81 has to equal the total for the girls over the girls. T with the subscript G stands for total for the girls. Again, give me a second, I'm going to look in the camera one more time. Eight minutes, I have exactly 2 minutes. And now we are told that the overall average is 84. Since the overall average is 84, that implies, I hope you can read my handwriting, that implies that the total for the boys plus the total for the girls, this total right here, total for the boys and total for the girls, divided by the number of boys and the number of girls, has to equal 84. From this equation here, I know total for the boys has to equal 90 times B, so I'm going to put here 90 times B here. I'm going to pick it up from here to here. 90 times B, which is the total for boys, plus the total for girls, which is 81 times G, over B plus G, equals 84. So, I'm going to cross multiply and get rid of this B plus G from the bottom. Let's cross multiply. Let's open the parenthesis. 90B minus 84B tells me 6B's equal 84G minus 81B will equal 3G. That tells me that G equals 2B's. There are twice as many girls as there are boys. That's all. That's all. There are twice as many boys. So there are twice as many girls. If there are 3 boys, there will be 6 girls. If there are 10 boys, there will be 20 girls in this scenario. And do it out. Plug in some numbers and do it out. You will see. Put in 2 for B, 2 for boys, and 4 for G, and do it out, and you will see that it works out perfectly. That's what it is here. Alright? But again, this was only for the people who are out of curiosity, want to do it out algebraically. I hope that you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, face-to-face tutoring, or over the phone or through the internet, go to my website at www.for4gre.com and send me an email. Or you can go to www.KeshwaniPrep.com and send me an email. Alright? We'll talk. Thanks.